Oh my god.
He tried to suppress it
I
this
just
time.
pressed it. Of course. How did I know? Oh, shoot.
I found the button.
Hold on. No, that's not it. There we go. I forgot to press the almost live button. All right, well, look. We're already live. It doesn't really matter. Boom! And we're live. Again, you want the tweet action, my dudes?
That'd be awesome.
You got to get this out on Mastodon. We need all the help that we can get today, Griffin.
Oh, I always post them on Mastodon.
Although this should be an easy one because we finally have the event, and we got a lot to talk about the event. We got Mark T here.
Time, but we genuinely do have a lot to talk about this episode.
I know. Usually we just say that to keep people here and listening to the show, but this week we actually mean it. But this is what I wait for all summer. Like, summer is so slow in the Apple sphere because we're all just waiting for them to have their fall event and actually talk about iPhones. Johnny's asking if this has just started. Yeah, it has. Does it feel like it's ending? Should we just go ahead and end it here? I go ahead and cue up the music. All right, let me get this tweet action out. This is going to be the one that gets them all here. TC will be here. We'll get We'll get Gruber in here. We'll have Mark in here. It'll be the whole crew. All right. Should we just go ahead and get rolling here, dudes? Since we spent 30 minutes just talking about Star Wars for the first for the first half of the show.
Right.
That we can't use.
Out exactly how to fix Disney.
Yeah, maybe that would be good bonus track material. I don't know. It might be too long. But we just spent 30 minutes talking about everything wrong with Disney and how to fix it and what's going on with Star Wars and how to fix it. We got Richard Field here. He says, hello, guys. Johnny says he just turned it on. He wasn't taking the Mickey. I am going to go ahead and presume that's some kind of like UK slang for I'm just joshing you. Am I right? We got good evening from London. All the UK folks are here. Fantastic. I love all the UK folks. I like having you here. I like it when I show up to the pub and we all bar fight together. It's my favorite thing about the UK folks is they're always willing to go to the pub and just brawl with you, Lewis. You know what I'm saying?
Most of my fighting is done at the dartboard.
Well, that's a shame because there's nothing like breaking a chair over a unsuspecting bar patron's back. Just ask LK. It's one of his favorite pastimes. No LK this week? No. Why would LK be here?
That was a one-time special deal.
LK hasn't been on the show for years. I don't know if LK will ever come back. I'm not even convinced he was here. I think that did you notice there's no video evidence? I feel like our new Cultimac writer, Griffin Jones, may have figured out some kind of like AI technique to create his voice in real time and was actually playing both parts. Oh, yeah.
No comment.
Oh yeah, me and LK. That's the real, the deep fake AI voice. That's the real secret. Did you guys see the people on Twitter that was that one guy? And look, I'm not hating on the guy. I get it. He's like, Airfon's gone. Suddenly LK is here, and he's like clearly Airfon made too many drug references about LK that just pissed him off, and that's why he's not on the show. And the funny thing about that is like the reason I make those jokes is because they're true, and LK thinks they're hilarious. I mean, do you guys not remember that LK found that big giant bag of drugs outside the Cultimac World headquarters in the dumpster? Like all sorts of cannabis products. It was like a 5-pound bag. And shortly thereafter, he disappeared from the show forever.
Just a coincidence.
Do you think that's a coincidence? I don't know.
God, for some reason, I was looking through the back archives of stuff, Instagram or something. I saw a picture of you and Buster at, I think it was at
Macworld,
CES.
probably. It could have been CES or Macworld.
And it's like Buster had apparently found a giant bag full of pills.
That was Macworld.
Macworld.
That was Macworld in like 2014 or something. And
in San Francisco?
Yeah.
He actually found a giant bag of pills.
It was a giant bag of some kind of pills. And when we say giant bag, it was like It was
like
a 1 gallon
Ziploc.
It was a 1 gallon
gallon
Ziploc bag, and the thing was almost entirely full of pills, like some kind of narcotic pills. I don't know what they were. We were trying to figure it out by using the code or the coloring on the pills themselves, but so apparently this is not an unusual thing in San Francisco, just to find a big bag of drugs.
I wonder why Apple shut down Macworld.
Yeah, well, the parties were great though. I will tell you that much. Yeah, someone was commenting that they love your background setup there, Griffin. Yeah, it looks nice. I should go full screen on Griffin more often. He's got all sorts of retro tech back there.
Yeah, looks like it's my personal 2008 MacBook Pro.
Oh yeah.
That is it's hard to point in the background. Mm-hmm. That's a compact Presario from the 90s. It dual boots Windows 95 and Windows 2000. It has like a Pentium 2 in it.
What technology?
I used to play Quake 2 on that machine quite a lot. That is my neighbor's old 2008 iMac has the same Penryn Intel processor that the MacBook Pro has.
Nice. And of course it all gets tied together about that. Is that a Honda Insight picture up there?
Yes, I had a Honda Insight for many years. I loved it, but I got too many dogs to be able to reasonably transport all of them inside of it, so I had to sell it. Oh, and that's my NES over there. Somebody commented on our live show I think 2 weeks ago when I first had this background, and they slandered me horribly. They said that on my NES I play Donkey Kong Jr. That is not correct. I don't like Donkey Kong Jr. I play Tetris and Super Mario Brothers.
I try to love Donkey Kong games, but there's just something about them that just doesn't resonate with me. I just realized we're missing a huge opportunity here, both of us, because you've got a couple screens back there. Mm-hmm. And we should have some kind of content playing on them. And what I was thinking was, I've been thinking about rebooting the Cult Club, and one of the things that I thought could be a cool perk is you could see I have a 60-inch OLED behind me, which isn't really framed very well right now, but if you support the Cult Club, however we end up doing it, Patreon or whatever, you could have your picture just rotating back there. Because I have an Apple TV connected to that thing. And I was like, dude, how cool would it be to have like pictures of people who support the show just casually rotating? It can be literally any picture you want, as long as it's like appropriate to broadcast on YouTube.
Yeah, for all 2% of our audience that watches the YouTube live stream instead of the
yeah, but they've got the fervor. That's a very passionate group of people. So I don't know. I thought that could be cool. If not that, then something, because I feel like to have a screen that's just turned off back there, it seems like a huge mistake. David Howard wants to know, what microphone does Griffin use? I forget the name of it. It's a Rode microphone.
I use the Rode NT USB Plus.
There you go. The Rode ET?
NT.
Phone Home Plus? Okay. Got it. All right, look. We've already gone like a full hour. We haven't even started the show. So let me go ahead and queue up Mrs. You Know Who. And we'll get this thing rolling. Oh, Mrs. D. Mrs. D. Oh, I couldn't find El Katie last week. Anyone know where he is? Oh, Mrs. D. He had a engagement on this program. He came back. Oh, is that where he was? Well, that naughty boy. Don't worry, though. He came over later in the evening. Great. Well, that's good to know. I hope you guys had fun. Oh, we did, my dear. We made love. Oh. It always goes there, Lewis. Every time. I sometimes think it's not going to happen, but she always finds a way. It's gross. Mrs. D, if you don't mind, we don't want to hear anything about that. Just nothing. We got a whole lot of Apple stuff to talk about. And we'd like to get this show rolling. I think I have everything going. I feel like I'm forgetting something terrible, but we'll just have to roll through, and we'll do it live. So, Mr. Steve, if you don't mind, let's get this thing rolling in 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Eric von Elijah. Joining me today, he was stunned when Leander Caney showed up to do the CultCast last week, because it's the first time he's seen him since COVID started. We all thought he was dead. He's the managing editor of Cultimac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Yeah, he's alive and kicking. That's great. Still has the British accent.
Oh, that's good to hear. Also with us, I'm not sure how he convinced Leander Kinney to join the show last week, but I'm fairly confident it involved some kind of transaction that the DEA would be interested in hearing more about. He's the newest writer at CultCast. Griffin Jones is here.
Good evening. And I will also not reveal what I received in exchange.
That's probably smart of you. Well, I have to commend you guys. I heard it went great. Griffin, good job editing the show, doing it all, putting it all together. And you got the mythical LK here. He hasn't been on the show in, I don't know how long. 7 months? 9 months? I don't even know. But, so, I do want to address this right up front, because if you guys follow me on Twitter, which is some of you, you probably saw some conversation going back and forth about how when I was gone, LK suddenly reappeared. And I just want to say, because someone mentioned this, or accused us of having some kind of animosity between us, and I just want to say that's not true in any way, shape, or form. I love LK. He's welcome to come back anytime, but I think personally he just wanted a break. But he also says, and he was complaining about this forever, that he started having problems with his eyes. And he said this on Twitter, so I feel comfortable telling you all. He started having a lot of eye pain doing the show in video format. And it got to the point where he would complain about it every single week, and he would always start rubbing his eyes and saying that his eyes hurt, and he was having headaches and stuff. Yeah, we started calling him Blinky. I don't know if you remember that, because he was blinking so much, and I think that had a lot to do with it. So I think those two things, working together, he was just like, I just want a break. He took a temporary hiatus, and I still think it might be temporary. I don't know if he's going to come back, but he did say if we started doing an audio version that he would be more inclined to come back on. So what I was thinking is maybe we could just call him in and not have him do the video portion, but have him just join. Because I could loop him in on my soundboard, no problem, and he doesn't have to do video. And we can just have like a static picture of him.
Yeah, or like a little AI-generated thing that goes...
That would be even better.
As he talks.
I would love that. And I think that LK, I think that he would like to be on the show occasionally. I don't know if he wants to be on every single week at this point. But like if we called him in like once or twice a week and just, and we could even cold call him. How about that, Louis? Do you think he would be mad if we just straight up dialed him?
Well,
we can bring in
him.
We can bring in his digital persona when he gets a Vision Pro.
Is he going to get one?
He probably will.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to run that by his wife. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. He's convinced that he needs one, but I have a feeling that Tracy may have words about that. But that would be pretty cool to bring in his digital persona, or, if that breaks down, I hear you can just switch to the internal cameras, in which case, we get to see each other, and then when he joins, we just see.
Jeez.
That's all you get to see.
I'm sorry I had to see that.
That just cracks me up, because I was like, when we were talking about FaceTiming with the Vision Pro, I was like, how are they going to show you? Is it just going to be a close-up view of your eyeballs, right? Like, because that's all the Vision Pro can see since you're inside. But digital persona would be pretty cool. Although I do think they're missing an opportunity to do a close-up of your bloodshot eyeballs blinking rapidly. Okay, anyway, before we dive in, thank you all for being here. It's great to be back. I had a really fun vacation on the coast where it was not warm in any way, shape, or form, but the beach was absolutely beautiful. Before we dive in, I do want to say thank you to Squarespace for supporting this episode. Squarespace.com/CultCast. You've heard me say it before. You still haven't done anything. Strickland, you'd like to say you're being a complete slacker. Well, now's your chance to get your life in order. You can do what I do. You can launch a product. You could sell physical products. You could sell a digital product. I sell the Cult Cloth at cultcloth.co using the Squarespace platform, and I have barely had to touch it since launching the site. The whole thing just runs itself. Now, we have to ship the orders, obviously, but other than that, everything else is handled. I literally never have to mess with my website. It's so simple. It's easy. It's easy to design. It's easy to set up. It's easy to manage. If you want, you can bring in contributors, and you can have businesses of all kinds. It's easy to grow your business all online. They have tools to send out marketing campaigns that are branded just like your website. You can create a members-only site. You could create a website that lets people book your calendar, and you could teach them your skill set. That would be a nice thing to do. If I had a skill set, I would totally do that. They have websites of all kinds. Maybe you want to just have a presence for your business online, which of course is so important these days, or you want to advertise yourself to potential employers with a beautiful portfolio or something like that. You can do all of it at squarespace.com/cultcast. Get set up, build a website, see how you like it. It's all drag and drop. You don't need to learn how to code or anything, but it's powerful. You can make your website look uniquely yours. And when you're ready to sign up for the service after your trial, just use code CultCast at checkout. You'll save 10% off your first purchase at squarespace.com/cultcast. And the offer code to use is CultCast at squarespace.com/cultcast. And the offer code, you know it, I just said it, is CultCast. And you can use that at any time. Okay, first story of the week. Man, this kind of, I'm embarrassed to say, it caught me by surprise. It probably shouldn't have because it's right on time. And that, of course, is the Apple Wonderlust iPhone 15 event. It's set for September 12th. Is that a Tuesday? Let's see here.
It is.
Yes.
Did I guess it? I guess it's always on Tuesday. A nice, beautiful invite went out, which we are going to completely decipher for you. I think we have it all figured out, to be honest with you. But we're going to go through the invite, take a look at it. I don't know if we can bring up the animation. I'll probably have to find it. But it will be at, let's see here, 10 a.m. I'm going to guess. Yeah, there it is, 10 a.m. Pacific time on September 12th. We'll, of course, be looking forward to that. I know all of you will be watching. We're expecting all new OSs for everything, obviously, all the iPhone 15 stuff, which I'm personally excited about because I'm definitely going to be buying. Probably that gunmetal iPhone 15 Pro. The only, is that what they called it? Titan
They're
metal.
not going to call it gunmetal.
Why did I call it gunmetal? It's because that's the color it looks like to me.
That's too dangerous.
That would be pretty cool, though, if they did that.
Hurtful term.
If TC came out and said, we're calling it gunmetal, y'all, and he has like a big old like handgun.
Yeah. I would definitely buy a Vision Pro and give it to you if they do that.
TC comes out and he's like, I wanted to name the color after something special, y'all. There's nothing TC likes more than his 45 Magnum, and he just pulls out this huge gun. That would be the best Apple keynote ever. Unfortunately, they're gonna call it Titan Gray. I think that's a missed opportunity. But that Titan Gray iPhone, that color is really beautiful in my opinion. That's it's not Buster Honey bronze, but I think I can live with that as long as they give us a color that's not space gray or gold or silver. Those colors are so played out. But if you're wondering what the invite means, top story on the site this week by our very own D. Griffin Jones, deciphering the entire invitation. And I think that we've got it on lock. We know what it means, and we know what this will mean for the events. Griffin, I'll send it to you to talk more about this, since this is your piece.
Very well. Apple's Wonderlust event invite and features the primary artwork features the Apple logo and like the sort of windswept.
I gotta see if I can bring this up.
Sandy visage. Yeah. But how could that artwork relate to the expected announcements of the iPhone 15 and the Apple Watch Series 9 that we're expecting at the event? People like to read into these invites as they go out every time, and I've outlined a few examples. Usually there's like one thing, like one important clue that they leave in the artwork, and they're like, this isn't like some tinfoil hat corner. Like there's actually a history of this that I outlined in my article here. They've usually had like some clues in the past invites. If you remember the invites for the iPhone 7 event, they had like these sort of blurry lights in the background that hinted at like the bokeh background blur that you get in portrait mode. The September 2020 event, where they introduced the iPad Air 4 with support for Apple Pencil 2, had this sort of Apple logo that looked like it was like done with like a brush stroke.
Oh my goodness.
And like, Pixelmator Pro or something like that.
This looks so dated. It was only 2020.
Yeah, and like that light blue logo. And that turned out to be exactly how they marketed the iPad Air of that generation.
Okay.
And like light blue was a big color that year for the iPhone, the Apple Watch, and the iPad alike. In April 2021, the Apple logo had like all 6 colors in it, which ended up being a hint towards like all of the 6 colors of the Apple Silicon iMac that came out. And usually there's like a little clue in the name as well. Like the aforementioned event in September 2020 was called High Speed. That ended up being a clue towards like the 5G connectivity.
It was
in the iPhone.
HI comma speed though, like high speed.
So fast.
Yeah, they usually like to put in a pun like that.
I do love those puns, I have to say.
They're pretty good. So what can we discern this year? You know, you have this gray and blue logo. I think that calls to mind like the rumors that you referenced there about the colors of the iPhone 15 Pro. I'm not the only person to make this observation, but like supposedly the lineup, and as we've been talking about, is going to be like silver, space black. That'll carry over as they always do. Last year's deep purple is probably going to be replaced by like a sort of a blue gray, and they're supposedly going to drop the gold color in favor of, as you alluded to, a medium gray. That so
what are you snickering about over there, Lewis?
You'll have dark gray, medium gray, light gray, and blue gray, which happen to be the colors of the Apple logo.
So bold. It's so daring.
If you thought it was going to get more interesting, it went the other way.
You know what, Lewis? I have to refer to your piece. What was it? This in 2022 that we need a bold new iPhone Pro color. I mean,
Yeah.
It's really true.
Come on.
Let me see if I can pull up the mock-ups of all the colors of the iPhone Pro. I mean, look, I'm happy they're adding a color that is not just what they always do and is not some muted blue or purple. I mean, Mom's minivan blue, wasn't a fan. The purple looked good, but I just couldn't get myself to buy a purple phone. I'm like, dude, I don't want a purple phone. So I'm just happy that there is an option here for me that I actually do like. And the Titan
the other
gray,
two shades of gray weren't good enough for you.
yeah, right. One's too dark, one's too light. This medium one though is just perfect. It's just right. Let me see if I can pull up. I'll send it back to you, Griffin. Let me see if I can pull this up the colors, the mock-ups. Do I have these up here somewhere?
Yeah, it was in my article there.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
About
Just
halfway
scroll
down. Yeah, you passed it.
Oh, look at that. Great minds think alike. Here we go. It is in the article. Space black. Oh, so tired. Silver. Oh, my goodness. Been around forever. Titan gray. Now things are heating up. That looks like the exact same color as my space gray MacBook Pro, though.
Is that the one that's supposed to match the titanium of the Ultra Apple Watch Ultra though? The Titan gray.
I think so. Because here you have my Apple Watch Ultra, and I bet you it's going to be exactly like that. It's just going to be a titanium, hence the name Titan, titanium gray. And then you've got the dark blue. That dark blue looks nice too, though, I have to say.
And
it's like a very
really
grayish
like
blue.
You really like the color of the Ultra Watch, right?
Yeah, I do. I love it because it just matches everything. Like this colored gray, I find looks good with most things. So I really like a good medium gray. Look, I would have been happy with, and I'm kind of hoping that we get this because if you look at the invitation, it has like let me see if I can find it. Where is it? It has like this really great level of sparkle to it. And I was like, what if it's like an electric guitar, Lewis, where it has like a little bit of metal flake still present and it has like this subtle sparkle effect? I would be extremely happy about that.
Yeah, like if they amp that up a little. I mean, you get a little bit of that already in the Pro phones, right? A little bit, but just like so little
Do
that
you?
you can
Because
hardly.
I feel like on my phone,
It's shiny, but it's not like sparkly.
yeah, it's like
just-
a satin finish on the back of the phone. There's no sparkle.
It's nothing like one of those fantastic flea bases, those brilliant blue glitter flea bases.
Oh, like
my
a flea bass guitar from the Red Hot Chili
Yeah.
Peppers. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, I would love something like that. Oh, dude, I just love sparkle stuff. Like I was at a Guitar Center the other day looking at electric guitars, and they had this guitar from this manufacturer that I'd never heard of, but it had like this beautiful bronze like sparkle effect to it. And I don't care how that guitar sounds. I wanted it just for that reason. You know, it's like you just got to have it just because the way it looks. There's a lot of aesthetic satisfaction that goes into a guitar purchase, don't you think? It's like if it looks right, it almost doesn't matter how it sounds.
Yeah, can you imagine having an iPhone Pro color that was just so hot that you're like, oh, I cannot wait to get that,
Yeah.
as opposed to like, well, I guess.
I really don't know why they don't just do that once or twice a year and just come out with something that's super bold. I think it would sell really well. Why? Because it's not the same muted, dreary colors they do every single year. They always do the same type of color. It's like some version of gray or a grayish blue or a grayish red, or it's always a darker color, you know. And I'm just tired of it, man.
This blue's slightly less colorful than the last blue.
Yeah.
It's just like, can they just? It's like they keep photocopying stuff, and it keeps getting like more and more washed out, and just it's sad, man.
Yeah, I'm
I
ready
would
for
like to
something new and bold.
I'll
And
tell
yet
you
they'll
what,
do that for the iPhone 15. We'll have all sorts of bright, cool colors for that.
Oh, will they?
We will. We're not there yet, but we will get there. We have mock-ups to show people, Lewis. All right, so
I swear, man.
where are we?
If this is true, if those are the actual 4 colors, I'm going with the white one. And I don't think I've ever. You know what? I've never had a white iPhone. Never once.
I have, but it's been a long time. I had one a while back, and I put it so it was the white one with the silver body, and
Must have been the iPhone 10 then.
it might have been. I think it was the tennis match. Yeah, but so I put a white bumper case on it, so it was just completely whited out, and I called it the Stormtrooper. That was a cool look, but it does get dirty pretty fast.
I was gonna say, did it get filthy?
Well, the case started to show its wear, you know, because your hands are obviously not always clean, and so yeah, for that reason. But I wouldn't mind a lighter color that's not white. Anyway, we don't need to flog this horse. He's been dead for hours. But what else we got here, Griffin?
There's a bit more that you can discern from this. Some people are saying, like, I embedded a tweet by Ian Zelbo in here that the sort of sandy pattern has a strong resemblance to like a pile of like titanium powder.
Okay.
A few people have
I'll
been pointing
accept
that out. And in a cursory Google search, I learned that titanium dust is apparently highly explosive.
Oh.
I'm not sure what we can learn from that, but that's
Well,
interesting.
Apple's taking a note after Samsung, and we'll have the phones that combust in your pocket.
Mhm.
Okay. Or maybe
People are also reading into the.
Hmm?
I also have some speculation on the name itself. Like, as you said, like they usually like the name to be a pun of some sort. Wanderlust is defined by Wikipedia as a strong desire to travel or wander and explore the world. And Wonderlust is obviously a pun on that sneaks the word wonder in there. I was thinking, maybe if that means something, like maybe Apple might be emphasizing like travel and like exploration or like hardiness in their marketing because, again, we're expecting another version of the Apple Watch Ultra at this event. I reached out to a friend of mine, Sam Henry Gold, for his insight, and he said, this is a direct quote, "The Wonderlust is simply Apple marketing being horny on Main." So
I don't
two different points of view there.
Well, the Wonderlust thing to me, and when I saw that, I was like, okay, it can mean a strong desire to move on. You're going to be moving somewhere else, and they're moving to a new design. So maybe that's the point of it. I like the travel angle of it. It's going to be extra hardy. You'll be able to take it places and do things with it that you've never done before. I like that as well. Also, we're moving to a new place with Mac OS, right? So we're moving on to a different place in Mac OS, although I don't think they would name.
They do that every year.
They do that every year, right? And that doesn't seem like something to focus on in your actual marketing material. So yeah, Level Remix saying move towards USB-C. Okay, although they didn't want to do
Uncharted
that.
territory.
They didn't want to do that, so I don't know. I did appreciate your use of the word portmanteau, though. Did I say that right?
I've heard it portmanteau. I've also heard it portmanteau. I don't really know what's correct. It's French, though. Sam also said to me that the dust imagery could also represent the dust clogging up your USB-C port, which will inevitably happen. Okay.
This also could have been the dust that TC is going to be partaking of before he gets hyped up to go on stage.
Oh, jeez.
It's a pile about that high. Could have been the dust that the industrial design team was using when they came up with the colors for the new iPhone Pros. Although that probably isn't true because they're not very adventurous. There's so many possibilities. But I do think it's interesting that it means a strong urge to I think you could say progress, but also I think it means a strong urge to actually travel. So, but there you go. Anything else Yeah, sorry, Lewis. Go ahead.
I was just trying to wonder if are there any iOS 17 features that are super travel oriented or anything. I can't remember anything. Check-in?
Yeah,
What-
that's the feature where you like send somebody, or like you send somebody a notification that like you're traveling home, and then it'll like alert them if you like get in a car crash along the way, or if you get delayed or something like that.
That would seem odd for
Okay. This is just like a rebranding of the Find My thing, trying to surface that, or what?
Yeah, it's kind of like sharing your ETA in Apple Maps, except it's more oriented for like personal safety in that way. Like every time I leave my mom's house, I always have the same exact exchange where she's like, text me when you get there, and I say, as always. And I don't think I have ever once texted her as soon as I got home, as soon as I pulled in the driveway.
Think of all the terror and fear that you're allowing to happen.
This is why you got to share your location with your friends and family. Like I do this, and I'm surprised how many people don't do it. And if they're your friends or your family, like some people don't want them to know where they are. I don't care. You can know where I am. You can see where I'm going. I don't really care. And it's so useful. Like I use it all the time to see where my wife is. I always say this on the show. I will set a geofence around her so that when she leaves, I know how much time I had to do that chore I told her I would do. I do that all the time. And my friend, I was meeting my friend a while back. He has a place in Idaho, and we were going to go meet him over there. And I shared my location with him, and he was like, oh, I could see when you were going to be here. That was super useful. And I was like, yeah, that's what I've been telling you. Like, you should just leave it on. Like, why do you care if your friends and family? Because some people are paranoid. They don't want to leave that on because they don't want people to know where they are. I don't really care. Then
Nothing to hide. Nothing to hide.
Yeah. If I'm not somewhere where I should be, then you know that I'm probably with LK and I'm being dragged along. That's why I ended up at that club. And then shortly thereafter, I was ushered to the local county jail where I stayed for the rest of the evening, and they let me out in the morning. Like there's and that information is useful. Anyway, do we have anything else here, Griffin? Or did we complete this? I think we did it. I think we solved the mystery.
You can keep digging, but honestly, like too many levels deep, and you're just sort of like scraping at nothing. Like people dig so deep into these, and it's like, well, think about like the graphic designers who actually make these things. Like they probably get like a couple of like a broad outline of what the actual executives want, that they integrate. So like there's not that much use in like Sherlock Holmesing it, but
yeah. Well, my takeaway from this. Oh, sorry, Lewis. Go ahead.
No, I was just say it seems like they have a history of showing us kind of the color palette that they're going to go with for that year. But then it just occurred to me, what if Wonderlust is like, that's the big surprise? Well, we know you've been lusting for an iPhone that actually has a bold, brilliant color in it. This one's for you, Irfan. It's brilliant blue with like sparkles, or God forbid, the bronze that you've been waiting for what, 4 years now?
Forbid? Why? That sounds like a great option to me, but I do really like this Titan Gray a lot. Let me see here.
It's nice and gray.
Although, like I feel like when I hold my phone up, it kind of looks like the exact same color as what I already have. Does it not?
That's the problem.
Maybe the space black is the one that's new. And the Titan Gray is just, space gray. Because when I hold this up like this, I'm like, wait a second. My phone already looks that color gray. I don't know, man. We'll see what they do. Maybe I'll end up with space black. Now I'm all confused. I often look at the back of my phone clearly, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, it literally looks exactly like this Titan Gray. Although Titan Gray does look a little bit lighter in color, which, you know what, I'll take it. As long as they don't make me buy a Mom's Minivan blue, I think I'll be okay. All right, look, we can share the iPhone 15 color options with you, which are going to be more exciting than the iPhone 15 Pro, sadly. We'll do that here in a moment. But actually, I was going to ask real quick, anyone going to get or planning on getting the Max this year? Because I think I might do it, but it's going to depend on whether or not they raise the prices, which now we're hearing all the rumors again that Apple's going to raise the prices, at least $100 on each model, which would make the iPhone 15 Pro $1,100 and the Max $1,200, right?
Yeah.
At least $100. Like they're saying it could be up to $200, which I think would be crazy if they raised it that much. I think even $100 is a lot. Like who's going to spend I don't know, like let's say you normally get the iPhone Pro Max and now it's $1,300. That's a lot of money for a phone. Although I guess everyone just does payments.
Yeah. And what if it's? I mean, so we've heard up to $200 more. What if it's like Vision Pro and it's like up to 3,000? Oh no, it's actually $1,500 for the iPhone Pro Max. Ugh. What if it's more?
It's a lot.
What if it's more?
It's a lot to
That's
swallow.
crazy.
I mean, we did hear those rumors. Thank you, Nathan, in the chat, that the base is going to have 256 gigabytes of storage instead of 128. I think that move is long overdue, personally. That will make the price increase more palatable. And then you would get the better pancake lens with the Max. These are what the rumors are saying. We don't know this for sure yet, obviously, which would increase your optical zoom from 3x to 6x. Now, that is, if you find that you use the camera a lot, that is actually quite a compelling feature, to not have to digital zoom from 3 to 6x and to be able to optical zoom that whole way. Because, I mean, how often are you trying to zoom in on things and you want it to be sharp? So for that reason alone, I might consider going to the Max. I really hate that they're delineating the cameras again between the two models.
Me
They
too.
stopped doing that for a while.
Come on.
I hate that they are doing that, but if they did do it, I mean, they're going to be trying to justify the higher price of the Max. But I don't know, man.
Big. Too big.
$1,300 for a phone, $1,400 for a phone, for a base phone. That's the base model. It's going to be between $1,200 to $1,400 if the rumors are true. Or I guess $1,200 to $1,300. Excuse me. So that's a big.
There's
price
also
to
the rumor
swallow.
that they'll be including a Thunderbolt cable with the Pro phones as well, which also sweetens the deal a bit. Thunderbolt cables are, as I mentioned last week, are pretty expensive to manufacture.
Well, they're especially expensive if you buy them from Apple. Like, I bought one from another retailer, and I think I paid them $25 for it, and it's a Thunderbolt 3 cable, which I don't know if there's a difference between Thunderbolt 3 and Thunderbolt 4.
There's a big difference. Thunderbolt 4 is much more expensive. It has like a significantly higher data transfer rate.
Really?
Thunderbolt 4 cables are really thick, yeah.
Huh. Do you see? Oh, so they're faster. Interesting. Huh. Because I thought that they were very close in performance. I'd have to go look. Now I need to look. I'm not actually sure if it was a Thunderbolt 3 or Thunderbolt 4, but those cables are expensive. That is true. And I'm sure Apple gets them for like $2 or $3 each. And then charges like $140 for them on their website. So they're going to have to sweeten the pot somehow, but I don't know. Are you planning on upgrading this year, Lewis?
Well, yeah. I'm definitely gonna get a new phone. I'm on the upgrade program, right? So
Okay. So you do it every year no matter
yeah,
what.
I'm committed no matter. Yeah, I mean, I work for Cult of Mac. What am I gonna do? Stick with a 13?
I mean, you could.
Like,
literally no one would ever know.
Right. It's absolutely true.
Or you could be worse off. You could have like a 11 Pro.
Yeah, I mean, that whole camera thing. I mean, depending on how much better the camera is, I thought they were actually saying that this year the zoom was going to stay the same. It was going to use a periscope lens, but for some reason the zoom would be the same. I don't know if that's. I mean, well, I guess
Griffin's
we don't know exactly.
nodding. I don't know.
That was the earlier rumor that the next year is when the zoom will improve.
Yeah, and I mean, if it's literally just like, oh, it's got a periscope lens, but it doesn't do anything different. I mean, why even talk about it?
Well,
but,
there'd be absolutely no point to bring it up, because if it doesn't have any kind of real world feature
it's
for
it's one of
consumers,
the weirder rumors this year. Is like, and it's going to differentiate it how. Oh, it's a 3x instead of a 3x. What? Huh? But yeah, man, I don't know. The last time I had a Pro Max size phone, I just regretted it every day of it.
they are huge.
It's just too big, man. And even the regular Pro is big and heavy. I mean, supposedly the titanium is going to make these things lighter, but you're talking about like an ounce lighter.
Well, I hope it's an ounce. I would be shocked if it were that much. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it were like, like a fifth of an ounce. Like, that would be a huge weight savings.
Yeah, I
in a phone
read
like that.
somewhere somebody was talking about, like, they thought that on the Pro Max size, substituting titanium for stainless steel would amount to about an ounce.
I mean, that would be a huge weight savings.
Yeah, but it's still
in a
big
phone
and
that
it's
weighs
still
6
heavy.
ounces. If you're able to shave off an entire ounce, like, that's a massive weight savings.
Does it weigh 6 ounces or?
I think it weighs Well, now we have to look.
I thought it was like 8 ounces. A half pound. I can't remember.
I mean, I could get my scale and weigh it right now. Let's see. iPhone. Well, I have an iPhone 13 Pro. Weight. So let's see. How much is that one? So that one. It's 6 inches. Yeah, what is it?
8.47 ounces for the Pro Max.
For the Pro Max. Okay, so the iPhone 13 Pro, which is. Sorry.
It's over a half a pound. So this
wild.
would drop it to less than half a pound.
Okay. So I'm looking at the 13 Pro, and it weighs just over 7 ounces. That's a lot. That's a lot of weight to be carrying around in your pocket. So if you went from that to 6 ounces, so let's see here. How much is the? I know this is terribly interesting radio. So which model did you just? Which model did you just talk about?
Everyone loves them, huh?
Which model did you just reference?
The 14 Pro Max, 8.47 ounces.
Okay. 14 Pro weights. I want to see what the 14 Pro is. I want to see if it went up at all. So let me bring this up. So the technical specifications on Apple's website. Oh, look at that beautiful deep purple. Okay. Okay, so the 14 Pro is similar to the 13 Pro. It's almost the exact same weight. It's 7.27 ounces. And then, the Max, God, dude, almost 8.5 ounces. That is huge. It's over a half a pound, not to mention all the weight. And yet, isn't the Max becoming like the most popular selling phone that Apple has? I remember seeing a story about that this week.
Yeah, supposedly the biggest selling one, and of course they make more money on it, but
right.
I don't know, man.
You'd have to have a Mercer purse to be carrying something like this around. I mean, that was always the problem for me is like I wear skinny jeans and I literally couldn't fit this thing in my pocket. But if it's going to have that periscope lens and it actually has 6x zoom over 3, that is huge. That makes such a huge difference in everyday life to be able to zoom that far in and still have it be sharp and crisp and not have like the degradation of quality, giving up, moving on, because of the digital zoom.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll see. We'll see very
We're 40
soon.
minutes into our first story. We have to move on.
What do you mean? Where you got to be? I wasn't here last week, so this week we got to make the show twice as long. I thought I told you that. Okay, yeah, let's move on. Before we do, though, I want to thank.
Once again.
I want to tell you guys a story about my life. I want to tell you 3 stories about my life. That's it. No big deal. Just 3 stories. Anyone get that? Anyone get that reference? No, because you're not true fans. You're not true fans. No, you know what I do want to do, though, is I want to thank Babbel for supporting this episode. Let me tell you something, Lewis. Did you know that you peaked as a child? You probably didn't know that.
Jeez.
That was the best that you were.
That's great news.
Same with me. And I can't say that for Griffin because I think he still might be one. I've never asked you how old you are, but Griffin might still be in his prime. He might still be in his peak. But science says our ability to learn new languages peaks when we're children. I believe that, as did many things in my life. But since you can't go back to being a 6-year-old, Lewis, I've got the next best thing for you. It's Babbel. Because with Babbel, you can start speaking a new language in just 3 weeks. Look at this, Lewis. Italian.
See?
You like to go to Italy. Think how beneficial that would be for you.
Yeah, man.
Think how much respect you'd get
And
if you showed up and spoke Italian to these people.
really slow, broken Italian.
Well, it wouldn't be. Not with Babbel.
Not with Babbel. It's just like instant injection of.
It's
Perfect.
like jacking into the Matrix, and then
Excellent.
you just get your brain filled. They load up the program. And it's like, and then you wake up and you go, I speak Italian now, just like Keanu Reeves did. Why Babbel, Lewis? Because it works. Instead of paying hundreds of dollars for a private tutor, or fooling yourself with language apps that are little more than games, children's games.
Dig.
Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons are designed by over 150 language experts to help you start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. And studies from Yale, Michigan State University, and others continue to prove Babbel is better. For instance, one study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a full semester of college. That is as close as you're going to get. 15 hours of Babbel is equivalent to a full semester of college from a language
That's a pretty
perspective.
interesting
According to these
stat.
studies at Yale, Michigan University, other universities, it's as close as you can get to plugging it into the matrix, I'm telling you. And this is one of my favorite parts. So Babbel, I'm getting my tongue tied. One of my favorite parts is Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you to improve your pronunciation and accent, which is of course something that, you can be self-conscious about. Like you're doing the lessons, but you can't quite tell if you're pronouncing things right. And the last thing you want to do is go to Gay Paris and speak French wrong. That's going to get you in big trouble. If you don't have the right accent in Paris, you're going to get in big trouble. And Babbel's speak recognition technology will help you improve your accent and your pronunciation. So you're not just learning it, but you're saying things correctly, which of course is important because with some languages, some words, if you change them just a little bit, they mean a whole different word. I can tell you some stories, and I'm not have time right now because we're already an hour and 40 minutes into this podcast where we should only have, spent 30 minutes on content so far. Here's a special limited time deal for our listeners to get you started right now. Get 55% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/cultcast. Get 55% off at babbel.com/cultcast, and that's spelled BABBEL.com/cultcast. Rules and restrictions may apply. Go and don't just get a physical workout, Lewis. As the great White Goodman said, get a mental workout. I like to break a mental sweat too. Don't you, Lewis?
I do it every day, struggling with words. and that's the English ones.
That's one of the things I like about learning a language is you just kind of get a brain exercise. Because once you get older, you're not in school anymore, and you don't really have to learn anything, at least nothing that is that challenging. And learning a language is challenging. It's just like learning an instrument. Like it takes work, but you feel good after you've done it, which is one of the reasons why I think learning a language is so helpful, even as an adult. Okay. Where are we? Let's talk about iPhone 15 colors, Lewis. Is periwinkle one of them? I know that's one of your favorites.
The Italian word for boring.
Oh, come on, Lewis. You think these colors are boring, but not the iPhone 15 Pro colors? Or maybe you think
the
they're all
iPhone
boring.
15 has caught a case of the iPhone Pro blues, man. Apple's supposedly going to produce the iPhone 15 array of mostly muted colors. Unfortunately, it sounds like they're, basically taking a page from the iPhone Pro playbook. The colors, to me, they look more boring than this year's models. New images of mock-up units came out this week. And of course, these are mock-ups, from a leaker. But it shows the upcoming iPhone 15 line in what looks suspiciously like 5 different pastel shades.
Here we go with this pastel.
It looks like last
again.
year's iPhones have been let out in the sun too long. And that's what you end up
We
with.
left them on the beach.
Good grief. I'm just astonished. So it's based, first off, Ming-Chi Kuo, the famous analyst that we talk about all the time on the show, he predicted that this year's color options are going to be blue, pink, green, yellow, and black. Other sources say the 5th option is going to be an orange or coral color rather than green. This week, longtime leaker Sonny Dixon posted some images online of 5 mock-up iPhone 15 units showing the case, all 5 colors, various angles. If you could see them there, it's just more of the same, right? It's like, look at these things that look all just kind of the same as the last iPhone Pro ones. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand why they're so intent on making things just sort of muted and washed out, pale. I don't know. If you look at those, there's nothing on there that's anywhere near as exciting to the eyes as the yellow one and the red one from this year's lineups. So what gives, man? I mean, is Tim Cook colorblind or what? I don't get it. I don't understand what their deal is. I don't know. It's odd because if you remember, like, way back when the iMac, remember the iMac G3 comes out, and, like, everything else is boring, tan, putty, gray, whatever. This thing comes out, it's like, wow, it blows everybody's mind. And I guess then Apple eventually they got to their like Johnny Ive, everything's silver and professional looking thing. But at least like those silver aluminum iMacs and things, those things actually look cool. They look interesting and beautiful and like high end designs. The iPhone, every year I don't know, man. Don't you want your iPhone to look fun? I do. I don't want it to look like this really professional thing. And I don't even think if they actually look like that, does it even look professional? It just looks boring. It just looks dull. It doesn't have any personality, right?
It is white with like the slightest hint of color. But I will say there is one thing I like about these mock-ups, if they are actually accurate, in that what I like is that the black is actually much blacker than the previous blacks have been in the most recent few years. Like I think starting with the iPhone XS, they started like lightening the black color to like be like a sort of muddy brown color, and then they walked it back a little bit, but still like the blacks aren't totally black like they are on like the iPhone 4, if you remember like the pure dark black glass that they had on the back. If these mock-ups are to believe, like the black will get blacker, but bad news is that if you want any other color, it looks like it's been lost in the wash.
Do you remember like what was it? iPhone 7 had like a jet black or piano black. It was like glossy, gorgeous black. That was
really cool.
Bold look. I never got one of those, but I seriously wished I had. I think it was sold out by the time I was able to place an order. So I had to get it as fast as possible. So I went with space gray for the 5th time.
For the 5th time. I'm gonna say, right. Russell Jennings, I see your comment in the chat. I'm not gonna read it, but I do see your comment. That's why I broke out into laughter about 20 seconds ago. It's funny listening to you talk about these colors, Lewis. It reminds me of a commercial that Jeff Goldblum did for Apple, where he talked about the color beige. It's just gross. It's just blah. Yeah. And then they release all like the colorful. I forget which Macs they were. They might have been iMacs. They might have been eMacs. I don't remember. And
probably the iMacs.
Listening to you
eMac
talk,
was only in white. It might have been the iBook.
Maybe they were iBooks. I don't remember. But listening to you talk about the colors, it was like the same spiel that Jeff Goldblum did in the Apple commercial about beige. And Apple created all these fun, bold colors because the computer industry was trending towards all these boring, beige computers. And I'm like, Apple has become the thing that they said they hated. Now that's them. They give you some colors, but the colors are all very similar. None of them are bold. They're all muted. This is the new beige. These colors are the new beige. They're just nothing that... There's just nothing surprising or delighting about any of these colors. And I get that Apple wants to have as much broad appeal as possible, but these colors are like the colors you find in hotel artwork. They're completely forgettable. There's nothing inspiring about them in any way, shape, or form. They don't elevate the human spirit in any way. And I'm just tired of it, man. I'm just tired of it. Someone called Jeff Goldblum because Apple's gone beige. That's all I can say. We're ready for something new.
I don't often want to be wrong, but I hope to God we're wrong about that. I hope this leak is completely wrong, and the day after of the event, we're all just like, wow, we should have never put much stock in that.
I don't know, man. Sonny Dixon has been pretty accurate over the years, and it's funny to me because he doesn't really do very much these days. Like, you don't really hear a lot from Sonny Dixon, but clearly he knows how to get samples from China. That is one thing that he does often do, and from my recollection, he seems to be pretty accurate. Because by this stage, it's all locked in. I mean, everyone in China probably knows what Apple's going to be doing.
Everyone in China.
So I'm going to guess that these are going to be pretty close. Like, they're probably not as nice as the actual Apple phones that will get released, but I think they're going to be very close, if not spot on. I don't know, man. I'm not getting the 15, so I don't care, but
there's enough other new interesting stuff to talk about on the iPhone, so we don't have to complain for a full hour after the actual September event about the colors.
Yeah, that's true. We won't talk about the colors probably more than 45 minutes once they get released. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about another small change for the iPhones, and that is the cases. It looks like Apple might be moving away from leather, beautiful, long-lasting leather, into some kind of woven material that's supposed to mimic leather. I don't know if this will end up coming to fruition. There was a rumor long ago that Apple was going to be not creating leather cases for these phones, and now we have this new rumor that Apple is going to be creating these cases instead. Let's see here. So I'll just go from the story here. Following up on recent rumors saying Apple won't make leather cases for the iPhone 15 lineup, newer rumors suggest Apple will replace them with a new woven material, according to leakers. That doesn't look woven at all, but maybe these are just mock-ups. Earlier in August, rumors suggested Apple would not make leather cases for iPhone Series 15 handsets anymore. Now there's leakers online who have these photos of like these reported new cases. These colors actually aren't bad. I guess if you want to get bold, this is where you have to do it in your case line. The cases appear to be made from woven materials that might create a faux leather look and feel. The materials are likely to be more eco-friendly than cow leather. How is a material that is made of plastic more eco-friendly than one made of leather? That doesn't make sense to me, because leather will biodegrade, but plastic will not, right?
But, no cows are harmed in the making of a plastic case.
Okay, well, I mean, you could definitely make that argument, but if you're going to be talking about eco-friendly, like, I don't know how you can make that argument. I like leather cases. I don't presently use a leather case, but I do like, there's just nothing like a good leather bag or a wallet or something that gets weathered over time. Like it develops that patina that's really beautiful. Like when you first get it, I don't really like the look of leather when it's brand new, but if you have it for a while, it starts to develop like this Indiana Jones ruggedness that I think pretty much, well, I would say most people, especially most men, like really like that look. So I don't know. I get that Apple doesn't want to use leather because it involves killing cows, but I don't see how these would be more environmentally friendly than leather, especially because once you throw this away, it's going to go into landfill.
Some of these, I was reading an article about how there's all these different types of synthetic materials now that are being made. A lot of them used in automotive upholstery.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are made from recycled stuff, so maybe it's made from recycled plastic bottles or something, right? So it's, in that way, it's more eco-friendly than, well, I don't want to say more eco-friendly than leather. I mean, leather is a byproduct of steaks. I like to eat steaks, so what are you gonna do? Throw the leather away?
Well, now you've got Beyond Meat. What's it called?
Right, Impossible Burgers.
Impossible Burgers, dude. You couldn't pay me to touch one of those things.
Those are actually good too. I like them.
Yeah, they're really good. And I think that putting them in a burger is actually like the best use case to like dip your toe into it, because like on a burger, like 90% of the flavor comes from like, like the cheese, the lettuce, the tomato, all of the condiments you have, like the pickles, the buns,
the char.
Yeah, the char. I've had an Impossible Burger and I think they're pretty good.
I don't care how it tastes, dude. It's not the taste that scares me off. It's knowing that this thing was created in a laboratory and is manufactured.
Lots of things are created in a laboratory. What's wrong with that?
Well, I try to eat more simply, I guess. Like I want things that are made naturally, and like the idea that this thing has been architected to taste a specific way. It's basically like mouth perfume. I'm like, I'm not.
Come on.
I don't want anything to do with it, man. I want my steaks, fresh off the cows behind. Like that's how I like them. In fact, I like them more from the middle. But I'm like,
this is like a weird theory that I've had.
Okay.
I think that if you really want like artificially grown meat to really take off, I think that people put like maybe a little bit too much money into trying to replicate existing meats. I think it would be really cool if you elevated science to create like a completely new kind of meat.
Okay.
Artificially made, like a completely new food.
Well, it's gonna be no for me on that one as well.
It's
not genetically modified. It's genetically created.
tastes just like a Martian. I mean, what?
Martian burger, Marsh burger. That's gonna be my new chain, Marsh burger, man. It's just things. That's just an animal that we just created by using other. You know, that reminds me of a line, another Jeff Goldblum line, that you were so concerned on whether or not you could, you never stopped to ask whether or not you should. Remember that line? God, it's just so many Goldblum isms happening this episode.
You know, just to circle back to the how to save Disney thing, maybe they could come up with, you know, like Banta burgers.
There you go.
All
Made
kinds
from
of
real
crazy
life
sci-fi.
Banta.
Yeah.
Made from a lab.
Going back to the actual topic of discussion, the
Oh,
cases.
yeah. Fine.
Tangent buster.
I think it's kind of interesting. I was thinking about this like 10 years ago, or like even more. Yeah. The iPhone 4 was like, 2010, 2011. Almost like if you go far back enough, almost nobody had a case on their phone at all. Then like around the time of like the iPhone 6, everybody had a phone case by then, but almost everybody had a third-party case. It wasn't until I think like the iPhone 11 or the iPhone 12, like the last 4 or 5 years, that I've started seeing a noticeable increase in the number of people who actually buy the official Apple case. Like the last few years out in the like I think it used to be like a 70-30 split between third-party cases.
Oh, really? Wow.
And like official Apple cases, where it used to be like 99-1 in terms of how many people like actually bought the official Apple case. I see so many of the official Apple cases, and that didn't used to be the case or the situation.
But it did used to be the case. You just said so.
Like I wonder what changed. Does Apple market their official cases more aggressively in like the AT&T and Verizon stores? I don't know. I see way fewer third-party cases than I used to.
I don't know if this is why, but the reason I bought Apple cases, I bought the leather one for my wife, is because AT&T and Verizon kept having these crazy deals on their cases. Like once your phone becomes a generation behind, they basically liquidate all their cases for that version of the phone. And Apple or AT&T, or was it Verizon, was selling the leather cases for like $12 each, which is a crazy price. So
that's a good deal.
Yeah, it's a great deal, right? So I ended up buying multiple for that reason, and it's a great case, and it looks really good now that it's been months and months out, and the case has a nice patina on it now, which is one of the reasons why I like leather cases. So it looks even better now. I would never pay Apple $60 for a case. That's crazy in my opinion to pay $60 for any case. But if you want a case right off the bat, you don't have a lot of options because Apple, I think, intentionally doesn't give people the dimensions, or as many people the dimensions, because they want you to be buying their cases, and they're the only ones that have the cases right off the bat, right? There's not a lot of cases on Amazon that will fit your phone when the phone comes out, at least not for like a month or so. But yeah, I don't know if that's why, but if you want an older case, or if you have an older phone and you want an Apple case, just keep an eye out on like a deals channel, like Slick Deals or something, and those cases pop up, and they're dirt cheap once your phone is a generation old. Man, look how long we're going. How long have we been live? 14 hours now? It's unbelievable.
What day is it?
What day is it? All right. Well, let's continue on. We got a couple stories left. Griffin wants to talk about Apple testing 3D printing, and I wasn't sure if we should do it, but let's test it out. So we'll see how many concurrent viewers we have, and if we drops in half, we'll know why. I actually think this is interesting because this could be a really big development in the world of Apple products. But I'm not going to take your story. I'm going to give this to you, Griffin. You take it away.
Sure. Apple is testing a 3D printer-based manufacturing process for some of its upcoming Apple Watches that could radically change how it manufactures products generally, according to, drumroll, Mark Gurman. It follows rumors that 3D printing could figure into Apple Watch Ultra manufacturing. This is like a long-standing rumor from Ming-Chi Kuo, who previously said that Apple is actively adopting 3D printing technology, and it's expected that some of the titanium mechanical parts of the 2023 new Apple Watch Ultra will be made by 3D printing, he previously said. Going back to Gurman, the technique would obviate the need to cut out large slabs of metal into the product's shape. So where previously they take like a giant block, like a giant rectangular block of titanium or aluminum, and they use a CNC machine to mill the whole thing down to the shape that they want. Instead, what they would use is a new 3D printing process called binder jetting that uses heat and water to change a powdered substance into a steel-like material to make like sort of a loose approximation of the shape that is then, I mean, the same as before, precisely milled down to the shape that they have.
Huh.
But so, it's not like they're gonna like take the straight output of a 3D printer and, put that in the box. It's not a very precise process. That's not quite what they're doing, but it does mean that there'll be like a lot less titanium wasted in the manufacturing process. Like instead of cutting down a giant rectangular shape, as I said, they start from a shape that's closer in size to the shape that they're actually trying to make. It leads to less metal lost in the manufacturing process, only the amount needed for precise parts like a hinge or a panel with cutouts. This is one last quote from Mark Gurman. The initiative is one of the first cases of using binder jetting to mass produce a high volume metal part. And supposedly, if this is a successful endeavor on the Apple Watch, they will eventually expand this out to maybe the metal frame on the iPhone too in the future.
They do seem to use the Apple Watch as a testing ground to do other things. And the only reason I thought this was interesting is because maybe it could cut down the cost on like phones or watches in the future, because now you're basically just 3D printing a shape instead of having to mill it down and using all that electricity. I mean, imagine how much time it takes one of those machines to mill that thing all the way down, and then I'm going to guess they have to like polish it somehow afterwards to...
Well, they're still going to have to do that. That won't change. It'll only change like the amount of...
I guess getting it down from like the solid metal ingots.
Material.
And then yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll be able to do it faster since they're gonna just be squeezing the metal out of a tube, and they can 3D print houses now. They have like all these machines now where they could 3D print houses and stuff. If you could 3D print metal at home, that's pretty crazy. Like that's kind of a game changer in my opinion. Like if you could actually print stuff and have it be really close to a final design, and you can just kind of finish it and have it be in metal, you can make like... It'd be really cool to make like metal busts of like, this is kind of something I would like to do with 3D printing machines now, is make metal or I guess they're acrylic now, right? The material used in the current 3D printing machines, but make like a bust of like your favorite movie character. Like there was a bust I really wanted of Captain Picard that I saw available online, and it sold out because it was like this limited edition thing. I was super bummed about it. But you could get the design for that. I'm sure it's available online. Like print your own and like put like a nice patina on it, like a bronze patina on it. Like that would be really cool. There's all sorts of cool stuff you could build with a nice 3D printer, but you can't do it with metal, so that stuff is usually pretty cheap and doesn't last very often. Make it so. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly how I feel. Let's see here. Hey, look, our concurrent viewers went up, so I was wrong. People do care about 3D printing iPhones. Maybe. Hey, look, I've seen the future. So Apple doesn't even sell you a phone. They just sell you the design. And you just click the print button.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
And your machine just spits out the new Apple Watch Ultra for $25. How about that?
It'll be like the original Apple computer. Let's just sell blueprints.
Yeah.
Hand out blueprints.
Good business model.
Yeah.
All right, the last story I wanted to mention before we wrap up here. Oh, what? Did we forget the giveaway? Oh, dude, I completely skipped over it, didn't I?
Giveaway.
Okay, well, let me send it to Lewis then. Talk about the giveaway since I completely forgot. Go ahead, Lewis. All yours.
So this week we are giving away, it's like a package deal. You get an Apple Watch carbon fiber case and a carbon fiber band with a magnetic clasp. These are both from Lulu Look. They if you see them, I don't know if you can show them on the screen.
I'm showing them right now.
Okay, great.
They're up.
They go together well. I think that band looks awesome, man.
That band is cool, yeah.
It's a pretty intense looking band. It's like a link band of the magnetic clasp. I don't know. I guess it's made from 100% real carbon fiber, supposedly ultra lightweight. I haven't checked these out yet, but it goes with all different sizes Apple Watch. It looks cool. I mean, it's not very often that you see an Apple Watch band. You go, wow, that looks pretty different from anything I've seen, and it also looks cool. I think that's what this is. These things retail for $99, on sale now apparently for $85.99. We're giving away one set of that plus the carbon fiber Apple Watch case, which retails for $50. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of the watch case. Although every time I crack my watch on a doorknob or a wall or something, I'm like, oh God, did I break it? You know, so
That's why you gotta go titanium, Lewis. I do that all the time. I look down. There's a big chunk missing from the wall. Watch is fine.
I'm not so worried about the aluminum case. I'm worried about cracking the lens on my thing. But anyway, so this thing, the case only fits Apple Watch Ultra or the latest 45 millimeter Apple Watches. If you're the one lucky person who wins this competition, is a giveaway a competition? Not really.
No.
Who wins the giveaway? You can choose which size you want, but it's only for 45 or 49 millimeter. So, in the next day or so, you'll be able to see a post on our site where you can enter. Right now, I think you could maybe show people the entry form so they can enter right now.
I'm trying to
put that in the
it.
show notes or whatever.
To it. It's here somewhere. Where'd it go?
We have the giveaway up and running,
here it is.
but we don't have a post yet for it. If you go to the thing, once it's on the website, you scroll down to the giveaway section, click on the giveaway post, and there's 5 ways to enter, and it's real simple stuff. Sign up for Cult of Mac newsletter is one thing, which our free daily newsletter couldn't. The price is absolutely right, and this is your pipeline to Leander Caney on a daily basis. He always writes the intro, picks the stories that go in there. Follow Cult of Mac on TikTok. Follow us on Twitter. Visit Lulu Look on Instagram. Lulu Look is the maker of this. These 2 products we're giving away, or visit them on Facebook. So it's real simple. Visit people online, get a free entry. You got a chance right now. I mean, there's 11 days left in this competition.
Zero
entries right now. It's in stealth mode right now. Like only people listening to this show would have any idea how to enter this. So, like I said, there'll be a post up probably by the time the show is actually on the old podcast.
Okay, well, if I don't have the link by then, I'll just include this entry link that people can use.
The link's right there in the show notes. You can't. Oh, you mean if you don't have the link to the post? Got it.
To the actual post, yeah. And Amid is asking, is this U.S. only?
I do not have that information. I'm sorry.
Oh. Yeah, we should probably figure that part out. I'm sure that's going to be in the actual post. Once the post goes up.
I wonder if it says in the terms and conditions. Usually there's terms and conditions section at the bottom. Let's see here.
How about we just spend the rest of the show reading through these?
That would be great, wouldn't it? Page after page after page.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The U.S. only.
The
sweepstakes is open to the U.S. only and void where prohibited by law.
Wow. Void where prohibited by law. Okay.
Yep.
Don't
hear
that every day.
I don't know what that means, but sorry, looks like U.S. only. But at least we have the actual sweepstakes. I guess it's a sweepstakes, Lewis. I'm not
I don't
sure
even know what the definition of a sweepstakes is.
Me either, but that's what it is. The lawyers say that's what it is. It's a sweepstakes.
I guess we should say thanks to Lulu Look for giving us these great prizes giveaway. Looks like a quality thing. I wish I
looks cool.
Had I wish I had a fake email address so I could enter and nobody would know.
Well, those aren't hard to make. You just go to Google and then you win the competition, Lewis. I win every time. It's amazing. All right, last story of the day. I wanted to mention this earlier. It looks like we also might be getting new AirPods at this upcoming event, which you'll want to wander around the world in, since you'll be enjoying your new AirPods with USB-C. Apple's going USB-C on everything, obviously, and the AirPods are going to be part of that offering, according to Gurman. I like this line from the story. After nearly a decade of dragging its feet, Apple is finally switching to USB-C. The transition away from Lightning is being forced by the EU. That's right, and it won't just be iPhone 15. So let's see here. From Gurman's story, let's see here. He says, quote, to match the new iPhones, Apple will introduce updated AirPods at the event that include a USB-C charging port, according to Bloomberg, obviously. It doesn't get specific on what AirPods we might get. It just says AirPods, which I don't even know if that's one model of AirPods or all the AirPods. I kind of think it's going to be all the AirPods. I mean, how hard is it for Apple to update to USB-C on everything? And you got to think ahead. Apple's getting ready for the holiday season. And so this actually works in their favor because now they can say the AirPods are new, even though all you're probably going to get is the current connection standard, which is USB-C. But it sets them up to say, hey, look, all new AirPods for the holiday season. And they're obviously going to be trying to update everything for the holiday season. So I'm going to guess it's going to be, not just your AirPods Pro, but all of the AirPods across the board. But of course, we'll have to wait and see about that. I also saw a story this week that I think there's a class action lawsuit against Apple for Sweatgate, so for the condensation happening inside of AirPods Max. And the story I was reading, I don't know how prevalent this is. I did a story on my YouTube channel ages ago, and AirPods Max get filled with condensation really easily because they're made of aluminum, so they stay very cold if you're in a cold environment, and then your ears are very sweaty, and because they're made of metal, that creates condensation on the inside of the ear cups, and they have like this magnetic ear cup that kind of seals off the internal components of the headphones so that condensation doesn't escape as easy or something. And people are saying, I don't know how prevalent this is, but people are saying that their AirPods Max are getting ruined by the condensation, which was a story I did like 2 or 3 years ago. And apparently they're saying it takes 2 or 3 years to have them be ruined. Now, I want to emphasize, it doesn't seem like this is a big issue. Like, it seems like there are some people complaining, and there's a law firm that's like, oh, this seems like class action material. And of course, law firms are often eager to sue people who have money to pay out. So I don't know if this is a real issue or not. I know that it happens. I just don't know if it actually ruins your AirPods Max. My AirPods Max are fine, but I don't wear mine that often. Like, there are some people that wear theirs 8 hours a day. And if you're going to have a problem, I imagine it would be those people that would have the problem because they're wearing theirs for a long period of time. So if I see this story go anywhere, I might bring it up again. But at this point, it seems like it's some people in forums complaining about it, but when it comes to actually being like a prevalent issue, it doesn't actually seem like it's that prevalent. But you've been warned. All right, let's see here. That's it. That's all I got for you guys this week. Look at Lewis. He's been asleep.
No
for
more
the last,
tangents?
20 minutes. I mean, all my tangents were spent on the start of the show. We already talked about Disney. We talked about Star Wars and how to fix them. We spent 40 minutes on that before we even got to this show. That's what I'm saying. That's why we need Cult Club again, so we can release all this great bonus material to the masses. But that's it. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But you know what? The party's never over. We're all on Twitter. Lewis and I are there actively. Griffin, he's passive. He's a lurker. He's an ex-lurker, I guess. But a present
I'm not
lurker.
even a lurker. I don't even check it.
Oh, you don't even go there.
But
But he's on there, but he's not even there. But I'm at Airfon, ERFWin. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for hanging out live and for listening. Hope you all have a great weekend, and we will see you all. Oh, I moved my end button. Why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. Well, now it's gone. See? This is why you don't adjust things.
I knew there was going to be a problem.
We'll see you guys next time. Let me see if I can find my end button. We're still here, though, because I lost my end button.
AirPhone has no off switch.
That's Leanna Keeney's worst nightmare.
That is apocalyptic.
There we go. Found it. Here it is. There you go. I pulled that off my Stream Deck right before we started recording, and I was like, I don't need this. Apparently I do. All right, everyone. Bye, y'all. It's over.